Alright, so this video is going to be a self-defense experiment. It's going to be great training because lately I've been very focused on sports combat as well as the martial arts. There's a third aspect of the training, which is the self-defense element. And I could go in depth about the differences, but I'm not going to do that now. We're going to test something, which is ways to defend yourself against an armed opponent. So we're gonna pick this weapon because this is with a thin layer of foam for safety purposes. It still hits pretty hard, but it won't inflict any severe damage. This is the type of weapon someone might pick up in any kind of environment and use against you, whether they've trained something or not. And for that reason, we're not going to do anything Screamer or Arnis inspired. We're going to try and attack in a very street-like manner. We're going to do 2 scenarios each, both with my martial arts friend Nicholas and 2 with me.
What's up?
Hey, what's up? I never knew you had 2. What's that?
It's this is a Maori Polynesian tattoo.
It's a Polynesian thing?
Yeah.
Are you Polynesian, sir?
No, I'm not. I'm from Spain.
Yeah. So
you hate this shit,
you are entitled to just represent someone else's culture?
What?
Do you know that my grandparents are from that part of the world?
I didn't know that. So what that one, huh?
Okay, good. Stop.
Okay, just keep it rolling.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so his reaction is very good, I feel. Only thing is next time around, just hit me, connect with it. But he did well getting in close and trapping the weapon. And yeah, next time hit me. Now, preferably you don't want to strike repeatedly. Just do a single strike at most, because there might be people watching, there might be a video camera in this day and age, and you want to make it as clear as possible that even though we saw the whole thing going down, that you weren't overreacting. Depending on the country you're in, you might end up in prison or something like that. But great reaction, trapping the weapon, and that's okay, I can take it. So just next time, you just strike me if you get the chance.
Yes.
We're gonna do one more scenario. So in this case, I picked up the weapon. The next one, I'm just gonna be someone training with the weapon, and then he walks in close and something happens. Okay, let it roll.
What kind of weapon is that?
What kind of weapon is that?
Yeah, what kind is it? That's a dangerous weapon, right?
You're taking it in?
Yeah, you can't go around with a weapon like that.
Yeah, it's a dangerous weapon.
You can't go around with a weapon like that.
I might not have been able, if this wasn't padded, I might not have been able to continue fighting and get the upper hand. But I did so anyways.
Yeah, you did.
Just to point out, to emphasize the importance of getting away, because once again you did very well. I think at first I was being very aggressive, and you could have already done a preemptive strike because I have the upper hand with the weapon, so you kind of can't afford to wait like that.
Exactly.
I was already yelling, but
Yeah.
as soon as I swung it, you did really well. And then on the ground, that's why it's important to train this, because your instincts kicked in and you repeatedly struck me where you had the opening to get away. But very, very well done.
Thank you.
It's a fun match to do as well.
What is your name?
My name is Michael.
Michael. What a ridiculous goddamn name you got, bro.
What? You're talking about?
I said you got a ridiculous name.
People make Michael, but
Yeah.
if you feel that way, that's the way you feel. But I don't know. Yeah, you look kind of ridiculous. I'm just saying yourself.
What did you say?
Hey, no, relax. I don't mean no problem. Relax. Hey! Okay. Kan I lige tage en tår? Kør lidt hårdt. Ind og rammer.
Ja. Okay.
Ind og rammer. Så rammer du ham bare.
Vi tager den bare lige hårdt bare til skuespillet bliver også lidt bedre. Det er det samme. Okay. Og husk, du kan sige, at lige når du kan starte.
Ja.
Okay.
Hello, what's up?
What's up?
You look like a girl, you know that?
Huh?
You look like a girl, bro.
Are you because of the long hair? Okay.
Yeah.
That's smart. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you want, man?
Hey, I don't want no trouble. Let's just have a good time. Let's relax.
What good time? I don't need like a good time. Just need to fuck someone up.
No. You don't need to fuck someone up. What? Fuck. Hey, I don't want any trouble.
Fuck you want, man?
I'll use this if I have to. Otherwise, I won't.
I'm gonna fuck you up, man!
Hey, just keep away. I'll use this if I have to. If I have to, I'll use it.
Here I was telling him that I was striking to the groin, but I couldn't do it full power with the elbows because my opponent wasn't wearing a cup.
This time?
Yeah. That's like yeah, fucking no, that looks like shit, man.
Hey.
Looks like fucking shit.
Alright, so things went unexpected, which is the one thing you can expect in a self-defense scenario. So we did 2 scenarios each, and the idea was, like we saw with Nicholas when I attacked, that in one case I already was training with the weapon, and suddenly things escalated, and in the other case he had a clue to react when I picked up a weapon. Now, in the first scenario where I actually picked up a weapon defending myself, the idea was for Nicholas to pick it up, but as we were improvising and things were getting heated, he started behaving in a threatening manner, being far away from the weapon, and I identified this as the nearest object I could pick up to defend myself.
What good time? I don't need like a good time. Just need to fuck someone up.
You don't need to fuck someone up. Fuck. Hey, I don't want any trouble.
Fuck you want, man?
I'll use this if I have to. Of course, even though it wasn't the plan for this video, I needed to demonstrate the right tactical awareness. So that's what I did. And then we did one more scenario, and it just happened so quick. So what actually happened is, did you pick up the weapon? I think he picked up the weapon, and then I had to react. And in both cases, I went for a guillotine choke. I tried to do it standing, but then once I felt there was a risk that he might slip out of it, I swept him to the ground. Now, it's dangerous being on the ground, especially if multiple opponents get involved, so that's also why I was quick to look up and try to identify if there were any other opponents. This is an empty space, so there wasn't. And the next thing on my mind was to try and realize where the weapon was, especially if it's something like a knife. You don't want it to just be lying around there and perhaps he'll grab it and just stab you. So These aren't perfect reactions. This isn't like a tutorial, but I've shared a few ideas for defending yourself, and this shows a realistic look at what that might look like.
After years of free content, the time has come where I need a helping hand from some of you. You can support me with $3 each month or 5 or 10 for a few extra benefits. Supporting Zen-Dragon via Patreon will probably make no difference to you financially. If you're living hand to mouth, I don't want your money, then I'd rather you keep them for yourself. Don't worry, I'll be alright. The donations are in place to help cover equipment and other expenses for the channel. Now that I'm also a father, it's more challenging than ever to find the time to create and share free content. But if enough of you support on Patreon, there will come a day where I can cut down my 9-to-5 job, either partially or altogether, which will make it sustainable to continue creating and sharing free content here on YouTube. Even if that does not happen, I'll still continue sharing, but possibly with longer breaks in between. Thanks for listening. Now visit my Patreon, that's patreon.com/Zen-Dragon. I greatly appreciate you for listening and for continually watching Zen-Dragon.